So yeah, so I thought today let's go over the fullness, not the wellness, the fullness emptiness chart, right?
Okay.
And you did one for me, which I can put up with the video.
Okay, so when you're trying to reattune to hunger and fullness, because keeping in mind that eating is a biological behavior, so just like you can feel when you need to go to the bathroom, you can feel your hunger and fullness. Your body can tell you when you need to eat and how much to eat. So on the hunger fullness scale, the one that I use, there's different options. One even looks like a gas gauge, which I think is kind of clever because I use a car metaphor a lot. But on the one I use, a 5 is neutral, right in the middle, not hungry or full. You are between meals and you're not hungry yet. A 4 is like there's no food in your stomach, but you're not necessarily having like hunger pangs or anything. It's maybe just like a warmth, like you need a snack or will need to eat soon. And then a 3 is normal hunger pangs, stomach growling. Some people don't have those, or they're too busy to notice them. So some more neat signs come up later. And then a 2 is starting to get edgy, irritable. And a 1 is, I tease that it's knocking people out of the way to get to food. And then a 0 is potentially not even feeling hungry anymore. By that point, you may be feeling nauseous or shaky or, woozy kind of feeling. It's a low blood sugar kind of a feeling. Even when you're close to low, even when you're on the low end of normal, you can feel that way. And that'll pass if you wait long enough. Your body's like, oh, we're starving, and then it gets some carbohydrate from your liver. It's really not good for your metabolism for you to just ignore your hunger and allow that to happen. But when it does reappear, your hunger is really strong then. You don't really get a 4 and a 3. You may start back at a really hungry place. Okay. Also, if you eat, if it's past, sometimes you'll feel more hungry than you felt going into it, You might not feel hungry because the hunger is past, but then once you start eating, you're like, oh, I was hungry. That's another sign that you missed a cue.
Okay. Yeah, it's almost like making up for something too.
Right. Well, it's like, yeah, the body was, so it just.
I guess it is making up for it.
Okay. And then on the other end, a 6 is satisfied. I kind of think of it like 80% full or like saving room for dessert kind of a feeling. And then a 7 is just right, like it just hit the spot, feel very comfortable and satisfied. And an 8 is maybe a few bites too many. Maybe there were just a few bites left, or it tasted good, you realized at the end, and whatever. So, and then a 9 is getting stuffed, kind of like maybe Thanksgiving. And then a 10 is like, I'm going to have to lay down. I have to lay down until this passes because I'm so uncomfortable. So.
Okay. And this is going on all the time in the background.
It is going on in the background. The reason that a lot of people are like, oh, I can tell when I'm hungry, but I can't tell when I'm full. One of the reasons people have trouble telling when they're full is because they're eating too fast. It does take like 15 or 20 minutes for all that to register from your stomach to get the cues from certain nerves. And so you have to eat slow enough. Most people in America eat a meal in 7 minutes. So if it takes 15 or 20 minutes for it to register.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I probably do. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we're just kind of, I don't know why we eat so fast. I mean, I will say a lot of places don't give a lot of time for lunch, including schools and workplaces and stuff like that sometimes. So, but anyways, if you can slow down enough, pacing yourself, which we can discuss in another video, how to pace and, savor and all that kind of stuff. But if you can slow down, then it allows your hunger to come as you're eating. And when your hunger comes as you're eating, I mean, not your hunger, your fullness kind of starts showing up. When it shows up while you're eating, it's much easier to stop than if you're not full and you just think you should stop,
But how about the strategy of, I'm only going to eat the amount that I buy a hamburger and French fries, and that's the amount I'm going to eat. I stuff it down in 5 minutes. So I'm really gearing it on the amount of food I put in front of me rather than using the fullness I feel.
Right.
You're saying that's really not an effective strategy.
Yeah, okay. I am. So I mean, the times that can be okay is if you've packed your lunch for work and you know it's always the right amount. You know how hungry you are, you know how full it makes you, or whatever.
Okay.
Or you have a convenience meal and you know it seems to be just the right portion. But if you go to fast food or a restaurant, it doesn't matter how much they give you. If you go slow enough, you can just sense when you can feel your fullness, and you can stop and leave the rest behind so that it goes in the proper trash can, not into the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so now on here you do have what the preferred range and occasional. So you want to talk about that a little bit as the overview.
Yeah. So, once you're getting the hang of this, you really want to kind of try to stay between a 3 and a 7. So you want to eat at a 4 or a 3, and you want to stop at a 6 or a 7. That will be the most comfortable places. I know that when I first started thinking about the hunger scale, as an adult after becoming a dietitian, I thought, hunger and fullness? Whoever heard of that? I hadn't felt any hunger cues in who knows how long, because I was just eating all from my head. This is what I need, this is when I need it, and really just using my head, which is not the proper organ for, eating and meeting those needs. So it took.
Head is not the proper organ for eating? I thought it was.
No? Well, I guess your mouth is, but your brain is not the proper organ to determine how much you need.
Right, okay.
Not a lot. It's a.
So you're not determining it on size and amounts, you're determining it from the inside out, really, is what you're saying.
Yep, and you're not determining it from what your best friend said was in an article on Yahoo News. You're not determining it from what other people are saying. You're really matching your own metabolic needs, your own body's needs, when you're paying attention to the inside of your body instead of the outside. So an example would be, and I know it's a little whatever, but it's effective, is the same thing with using the restroom. That you wouldn't read an article that told you how much you should go to the restroom and then go do it like that. Or you wouldn't say, if the restroom's available for like 20 minutes, you have to be in there for 20 minutes. Like you go according to your need, and you don't do it when you're bored. You don't do it when you're sad. You just go to the bathroom when you need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, but
most people, when I say this story about myself not having felt hunger, most people say that. I don't feel hunger. I don't feel fullness, or I don't feel fullness until I'm too full. That's a sign of having eaten so fast.
Oh.
You get it until it catches up with you after you're finished, So these are all normal feelings to have initially. Like, I know it's flippant to say eat when you're hungry and stop when you're full. It's not meant to be like, that's so easy, you should just do that. It's just that makes sense, and then that can help us do everything else we need to do to avoid overeating, emotionally eating.
Okay. So the preferred range is between having a hunger pangs, but also if you awaken to hunger, you could eat a little bit. I guess even if you're in the neutral place and it's been a couple hours, I don't know.
Well, there's some, yeah, I kind of call it like convenience eating. If you have lunch at noon and you're not hungry, but that's your only chance to eat, you should go ahead and eat lunch, because you know that for the rest of the afternoon, at some point you're going to get hungry, and then you won't have the availability. So that's kind of a different scenario. It would be nice to have eaten, to figure out how to eat up to then, to have that time out right, that your snack is such that you get hungry for lunch at a normal time. Plus, usually your body adjusts to starting to want the same thing. The other thing, so that's not really, when we talk about non-hunger eating, I wouldn't consider convenience eating like I only had this time, or I had to stop here, or my family was all having dinner, or whatever. That's fine. It's not emotional eating. And what else did you say? Oh, what if you had to eat at a 5 or whatever? So that's, no matter where
let's say you're neutral. Well, I guess that would cover that.
Yeah.
Or let's face it. Sometimes sometimes I see somebody eating an ice cream cone, and I go, I would like an ice cream cone. Screw the chart.
Right.
So, or an ice cream sandwich is what's up these days.
Okay.
So we're saying that's okay. We're not saying it's okay.
That can be, once you're to like normal eating level, it can be okay that if somebody pulls out warm cookies from the oven,
there you go.
but it's I would say you're too early in the process to be able to say like, oh, that ice cream sandwich looks good, I'm going to have one. Like if it was a social situation where you guys went to get ice cream, maybe so, but not that just looks like you see a commercial and it looks good and you go get it. Just like you wouldn't go to the bathroom because somebody else just did or it sounded like a good, okay? I mean, like,
Okay.
I don't know. I know it sounds like it's really different, but they're both biological functions. Eating has just gotten turned into something crazy.
Okay. And then on the paper here, which I'll post, or is posted too, but anyway, occasionally you go to where you're kind of edgy and irritable, or occasionally we go to a few bites too many. And I think what you're saying there is the idea is you don't shame yourself if you get there. You just realize it and go.
Yeah, and go on. And so then hopefully you become more aware, like, oh, I need to add this to my snack, or I need to have this sooner, or whatever. You just learn from it and adjust your pattern to see if you can be on course more so. No matter how full you get, even if you got to a 10, no matter how full you get,
okay,
you wait long enough, you will get hungry again. And just like the gas gauge metaphor, that's all of it's gone. Your body has used it up when you get hungry again. So I know that we think that it's just storing stuff away all over the place, but your body now needs more fuel because it's hungry. The other stuff's gone. So, and it makes a lot of sense really mathematically when you look at the metabolism rate and what people are having and how long it holds them and all that stuff. So, but you don't need to think about any of that. You just are paying attention to your body. Also, all the hunger stuff, I mean, except for if you miss a cue or something, all the hunger stuff should be occurring in your stomach. It is not head hunger. It's not, oh, I'm hungry for something, when that's really more of like a desire for something. I want an ice cream sandwich, not I'm physically hungry in my stomach. Do you know what I mean? Like just because something pops in your head, that is not a real hunger. That is just a non-hunger urge to eat.
How long does this take to start becoming aware of, or how do you incorporate this hunger, fullness, I keep saying wellness, but anyway, hunger, fullness chart in your mind during the day? Do you think about it all day? Do you put little signs up? How do you do that?
Yeah, just make a note. So one of the things I kind of tell people is it's a little bit like learning to drive a car. So when you're first learning to drive a car, you have to put your foot on the brake and you have to look over your shoulder and you have to make sure your seatbelt's on and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's kind of complicated at first, you know, you feel it's really overwhelming. But then, you know, when you're a big girl, big boy, you can just get places and not know how you got there. So slightly scary, but anyways, it gets easier. So that's what I would say about this is like, this is something babies do without any instruction. Children, small children, and babies do this naturally. So it's not that tricky. We've just been trained out of it and gotten a lot of weird messages about food in the meantime. So it does take some focus at first. You're checking in throughout the day.
With yourself.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be constant, but you're gonna have to be checking in at first. And then it'll become more subtle and easy to notice. One of the reasons that is that we've let ourselves go hungry. Like if it's not time to eat my whatever weight loss shake, then I'm not going to eat anything, even if I'm hungry. Or we get too full because we eat, you know, without hunger. So we continue eating because we think it tastes good or whatever. So,
well, yeah, going on a diet is implying hunger, really. If you go on a restricted calorie diet, what you're saying is there are times during the day where I'm going to be hungry, but I'm not going to.
You're not responding to your body. You're not honoring your body's natural cues. Yes.
The opposite.
So now we're trying to honor our body's natural cues, and it's just really typical to like distrust that because of all the usually from a lot of years of being kind of weird with food. You know.
So this really covers the hunger fullness chart, and generally how to use it.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to talk about in our next one is the very beginning stages. So yeah, it's complicated, but what I would do right before hunger and fullness, like if you first came in to see me, what we would discuss. So.
Okay.